Welcome back, seekers of the supernatural and guardians of the goosebumps. If you've found your way here, it's likely that you share a fascination with the eerie and the inexplicable, the kind of stories that send shivers down your spine and leave you glancing over your shoulder long after the tale has ended. We are not just storytellers, we are explorers of the unknown, delving deep into the realms where history meets horror and reality blurs into the spectral. Today, we embark on a chilling journey through one of humanity's most enduring mysteries, the key to death. This enigmatic concept has haunted cultures across time and geography, weaving itself into folklore, mythology, and urban legends. From ancient rituals to modern-day encounters, the idea of a key that unlocks the threshold between life and death has captivated imaginations for centuries. But what if this key is more than mere metaphor? What if it exists in tangible form, a relic, a symbol, or even an object imbued with otherworldly power? In this video/article, we will traverse the shadowy corridors of myth and reality, uncovering tales of cursed artifacts, haunted locations, and personal accounts tied to the ominous allure of the key to death. These are not mere ghost stories. They are fragments of a deeper mystery, beckoning us to explore their depths and perhaps confront our own fears about mortality. Dim the lights, and prepare to step into the shadows. By the end of this exploration, you'll not only understand the legends surrounding the key to death but also feel its haunting presence pressing against your very soul. Are you ready? Let's dive into the heart of this macabre legacy. And remember, what you're about to discover may leave you questioning whether such keys truly exist, or if they've been watching you all along. The mythic origins, keys as symbols of transition. Before we delve into specific tales of dread and despair, let's first explore the symbolic weight carried by keys throughout human history. Across civilizations, keys have long represented access, authority, and transformation. In many cultures, they were seen as tools capable of unlocking doors, not just physical ones, but metaphysical portals leading to hidden truths or forbidden realms. It is no wonder, then, that the image of a key became intertwined with the ultimate transition, death itself. In ancient Egypt, keys held profound spiritual significance. Priests believed that certain ceremonial keys could unlock the gates of the afterlife, granting passage to the deceased who had successfully navigated the perilous Duat, the underworld ruled by Osiris. These sacred keys were often depicted in hieroglyphs and tomb carvings, their intricate designs resembling both practical tools and divine symbols. Yet, whispers among historians suggest that some priests claimed these keys weren't merely symbolic, they possessed actual power. Accounts speak of rituals where individuals dared to wield these artifacts, only to vanish without a trace, leaving behind only cryptic warnings etched onto papyrus scrolls. Were these men consumed by forces beyond comprehension, or did they truly cross the threshold into the land of the dead? Similarly, Norse mythology introduces us to Skuld, one of the Norns responsible for weaving the threads of fate. Legends describe her carrying a golden key said to open the doorway to Valhalla, the great hall where fallen warriors awaited Ragnarok. However, the key was also rumored to serve another purpose, that of binding souls to Midgard, preventing them from reaching their rightful resting place. Stories recount instances when mortals stumbled upon the key, mistaking it for treasure. Those who dared touch it were plagued by visions of impending doom, their lives unraveling until they met untimely ends. Some scholars speculate that these tales were cautionary, meant to deter grave robbers and those who sought to meddle with the sacred order of life and death. Medieval Europe further cemented the association between keys and mortality through Christian iconography. Skeletons clutching oversized keys became common motifs in art and literature, symbolizing St. Peter guarding the gates of heaven, or conversely, Lucifer holding dominion over hell. Folklore expanded upon these images, giving rise to legends of cursed relics known as Death's Keys. According to these stories, blacksmiths tasked with crafting church keys would sometimes embed malevolent intentions into their work, cursing anyone who used them improperly. Entire villages reportedly fell victim to plagues and misfortunes after discovering such artifacts buried beneath altars or hidden within crypts. Even in more recent times, the motif persists. Victorian-era mourning practices included small trinkets shaped like keys, worn by widows as reminders of their loved ones' eternal rest. Yet rumors swirled that some of these keepsakes were far more sinister. Crafted using materials stolen from graves, they supposedly tethered the spirits of the departed to the living world, forcing them to linger in torment. Such tales blurred the line between sentimentality and sorcery, fueling fears that meddling with death's domain invited dire consequences. These historical threads weave together a tapestry rich with meaning yet fraught with danger. Whether viewed as tools of liberation or instruments of doom, keys have always carried an air of mystery and foreboding. They remind us that every door open may lead somewhere unexpected, and that crossing certain thresholds can never be undone. As we move forward into specific accounts of the key to death, keep in mind the weight of symbolism behind each story. For in the realm of the supernatural, symbols often hold real power, and the wrong key can unlock horrors beyond imagining. The haunting legacy of the blacksmith's forge, a cursed key, emerges deep within the mist-shrouded hills of 18th century England. Lies the tale of a small village forever altered by the discovery of a cursed key, one born not from myth, but from the hands of a tormented blacksmith. Nestled near the outskirts of Nottinghamshire, the village of Bramblewood was once renowned for its skilled artisans, whose craftsmanship adorned churches, manors, and marketplaces across the region. Among these craftsmen stood Elias Hargrove, a reclusive blacksmith known for his unparalleled skill in forging intricate locks and keys. Yet Elias harbored a dark secret, one that would bind his name to tragedy and terror for generations to come. Elias's descent into madness began shortly after the sudden death of his wife, Margaret, during childbirth. Consumed by grief and unable to cope with her loss, he retreated further into solitude, spending endless nights laboring in his forge. Villagers whispered that Elias spoke to unseen entities while working, muttering incantations under his breath as molten iron sizzled in the fire. His creations grew increasingly elaborate, almost grotesque, keys twisted into shapes resembling skeletal fingers, locks engraved with symbols none could decipher. Despite their unsettling appearance, wealthier patrons continued to commission his work, drawn by the peculiar allure of his artistry. It wasn't until the autumn of 1742 that the true nature of Elias's creations came to light. One fateful evening, a wealthy merchant named Bartholomew Greaves arrived at the forge seeking a custom-made key for his family estate's vault. Desperate to impress, Elias promised him a key unlike any other, pouring all his anguish and obsession into its creation. What emerged from the forge was a jagged, obsidian black key etched with runes that seemed to writhe under candlelight. Bartholomew, though uneasy, accepted the key and returned home, unaware of the curse he now carried. Within days, calamity struck the Greaves household. Servants reported hearing faint whispers emanating from the locked vault, voices pleading to be set free. Livestock fell ill and died without explanation, crops withered overnight, and members of the household began experiencing vivid nightmares of shadowy figures clawing at their beds. The final blow came when Bartholomew himself vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the cursed key lying on the floor of the vault, its surface slick with frost despite the summer heat. Word of the tragedy spread quickly, and suspicion turned toward Elias. When villagers confronted him, they found the forge abandoned, its walls scorched black as if consumed by an inferno. On the anvil lay a single sheet of parchment bearing a chilling message. The key opens more than locks, it binds the living to the dead. From that day forward, Bramblewood became a place of dread. Locals claimed to see Elias's ghost wandering the woods, his spectral form clutching a glowing key, while others reported finding identical keys buried in fields or hidden within attics. Each discovery brought ruin to those who touched them, their lives unraveling in ways eerily similar to Bartholomew's fate. Paranormal investigators visiting Bramblewood centuries later have documented numerous encounters linked to the cursed keys. Footage captured inside the ruins of the Greaves estate shows orbs of light hovering near the vault, while EVP recordings revealed distorted voices chanting phrases like, "Open the gate!" and "Let me out." Thermal imaging devices have detected humanoid shapes moving through walls, suggesting that the keys act as conduits for residual energy trapped between worlds. Modern accounts extend beyond Bramblewood, with reports surfacing worldwide of objects resembling Elias's cursed creations. In 1923, a farmer in rural New Hampshire unearthed a rusted key while plowing his field. Within weeks, His entire family succumbed to illness, and the farmhouse burned to the ground. Decades later, a collector in Japan purchased a similar artifact at auction, only to awaken nightly to the sound of footsteps pacing outside his bedroom door. What makes Elias Hargrove's story so compelling is its blend of fact and fiction, history and horror. The cursed key serves as both a literal object and a metaphorical representation of humanity's fear of mortality. It reminds us that tampering with forces beyond our understanding invites consequences we cannot control. Whether forged in anger, sorrow, or desperation, the key stands as a testament to the thin veil separating life from death, and the dangers of pulling it aside. The phantom lights of the Mortician's Key, beacons from beyond nestled in the fog-laden streets of Victorian London. The tale of the Mortician's Key unfolds, a story steeped in tragedy, betrayal, and the relentless pursuit of forbidden knowledge. At the heart of this chilling narrative lies Jonathan Wren, a gifted yet enigmatic undertaker whose reputation for meticulous embalming and ornate coffin designs earned him favor among London's elite. Yet beneath his polished facade lurked a darker obsession, unraveling the mysteries of death itself. Jonathan's fascination with mortality began innocently enough, sparked by his apprenticeship under a reclusive apothecary who dabbled in alchemy and necromancy. Fascinated by the old man's cryptic notes on keys to eternity, Jonathan spent years amassing obscure texts and artifacts related to the afterlife. His research led him to an ancient manuscript detailing the creation of a singular key, one said to grant its bearer dominion over life and death. Driven by ambition, Jonathan set out to forge the key, convinced it would secure his legacy as the greatest mortician of all time. Using materials scavenged from desecrated graves and melted down relics stolen from forgotten crypts, Jonathan labored tirelessly in the basement of his funeral parlor. The process was grueling, requiring sacrifices that tested even his resolve. Whispers among neighbors spoke of strange lights flickering in the windows late at night, accompanied by the sound of anguished wails echoing through the cobblestone alleys. When questioned, Jonathan dismissed the rumors as superstition, claiming the noises stemmed from routine maintenance. Yet those brave enough to peer through his workshop windows swore they saw shadowy figures assisting him, their forms dissolving into smoke whenever he turned his gaze. Finally, on a moonless night in December 1867, the key was complete. Crafted from a blend of tarnished silver and obsidian, it bore intricate carvings resembling skeletal hands gripping a serpent's tail, a motif said to symbolize the cyclical nature of existence. Overcome with triumph, Jonathan wasted no time testing his creation. He chose a recently deceased client, Lady Eleanor Hawthorne, as his subject, reasoning that her noble lineage made her worthy of resurrection. Placing the key atop her chest, he recited the incantation scrawled in the manuscript, his voice trembling with anticipation. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, Lady Eleanor's body began to stir. Her eyes snapped open, unblinking and devoid of pupils, as she sat upright with mechanical precision. For a fleeting moment, Jonathan believed he had succeeded. But the celebration was short-lived. Instead of gratitude, Lady Eleanor unleashed an ear-splitting scream, her voice layered with countless others. The room plunged into chaos as spectral figures poured from her mouth, their translucent forms writhing like serpents before vanishing into the ether. Horrified, Jonathan attempted to snatch the key away, but it clung to Lady Eleanor's flesh as if fused to her very being. By dawn, the funeral parlor lay in ruins. Witnesses reported seeing Jonathan fleeing into the night, clutching the key and muttering incoherently about undoing the lock. Lady Eleanor's corpse was never recovered, nor was Jonathan seen again. However, the key's influence persisted. Over the following months, residents of the neighborhood reported sightings of ghostly apparitions wandering the streets, their movements jerky and unnatural. Others claimed to hear faint knocking sounds emanating from abandoned buildings, as though someone, or something, was trying to escape. Local historians speculate that the key acted as a conduit for restless spirits, inadvertently releasing them into the mortal realm during Jonathan's ill-fated experiment. Paranormal investigators conducting studies in the area have captured intriguing evidence supporting these claims. Thermal imaging devices reveal humanoid shapes moving through walls, while EVP recordings capture voices whispering phrases like, "Set me free," And the door is open. Perhaps most disturbing are the reports of phantom lights hovering near the site of Jonathan's former parlor, their glow pulsating erratically before vanishing altogether. To this day, the legend of the mortician's key endures, serving as a grim reminder of humanity's hubris when confronting the boundaries of life and death. Its tale warns us that some doors are better left closed, and that unlocking them may unleash horrors beyond comprehension. The shadowy depths of the forgotten crypt, a key bound by blood beneath the crumbling stones of an ancient monastery in the Carpathian Mountains, lies a crypt shrouded in mystery and dread. Known locally as the Tears of Saints, this subterranean chamber has been sealed for centuries, its entrance guarded by a massive iron door adorned with a single, ornate keyhole. Legends speak of a key forged from the blood of martyrs, capable of unlocking not only the crypt but also the secrets of immortality. Yet those who dare to wield it risk awakening forces best left undisturbed. The origins of the crypt date back to the 12th century, when a sect of monks dedicated themselves to preserving the relics of saints slain during the Crusades. Believing that the sanctity of these relics could protect humanity from eternal damnation, the monks constructed the crypt as a sanctuary, embedding wards and enchantments into its very foundation. Central to their efforts was the creation of the blood key, a relic imbued with the essence of those who had sacrificed everything for faith. Crafted under the light of a lunar eclipse, the key was said to resonate with divine power, ensuring that only the pure of heart could use it. For generations, the crypt remained undisturbed, its existence fading into myth. That is, until the late 19th century, when a group of archaeologists stumbled upon the monastery while mapping the region. Drawn by tales of untold treasures hidden within the crypt, they dedicated months to uncovering its location. Their breakthrough came when they discovered the blood key embedded in the skeletal hand of a long-dead monk, its surface gleaming despite centuries of neglect. Ignoring warnings from local villagers, the team proceeded to unlock the crypt, eager to claim its riches. What they found defied explanation. The chamber was filled with sarcophagi, each inscribed with names of saints and dates of martyrdom. But as the first lid was lifted, a wave of icy air swept through the room, extinguishing their lanterns. Panic ensued as the team realized they were no longer alone. Shadowy figures emerged from the darkness, their hollow eyes fixed on the intruders. One by one, the archaeologists fell victim to inexplicable accidents, falling debris, collapsing floors, and sudden illnesses, until only 2 remained. Desperate to escape, the survivors attempted to reseal the crypt, but the blood key refused to budge. It wasn't until one of them offered their own blood, smearing it across the keyhole, that the door finally closed. Though they managed to flee, neither survived the journey back. Both succumbed to mysterious ailments shortly after returning home. The key, however, disappeared, sparking rumors that it had been retrieved by agents of the Vatican, or worse, claimed by darker forces. Modern accounts of the crypt remain scarce, though occasional expeditions report hearing faint chanting emanating from beneath the monastery's ruins. Thermal imaging reveals humanoid shapes clustered around the sealed entrance, their forms flickering like candlelight before dissipating into the darkness. Investigators speculate that the blood key acts as both a blessing and a curse, binding the spirits of the saints to the mortal plane while inviting malevolent entities to exploit its power. This harrowing tale underscores the dual nature of keys as symbols of transition. They promise access to hidden truths but carry the risk of unleashing horrors beyond human comprehension. The blood key serves as a stark reminder that some doors should remain forever closed, and that the price of opening them may demand more than we are willing to give. The sinister whisperings of the hotel's master key, echoes of tragedy perched atop a windswept cliff overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The Grandview Hotel once stood as a beacon of luxury and elegance. Built in 1905 during the height of America's Gilded Age, the hotel catered to society's elite, offering opulent suites, fine dining, and breathtaking views. Yet beneath its polished facade lay a dark secret, one tied to a single, unassuming object, the master key. The key, crafted from brass and marked with the hotel's insignia, was entrusted to the head concierge, a position held for decades by a man named Arthur Pembroke. Known for his impeccable service and unwavering discretion, Arthur became a fixture of the hotel, navigating its labyrinthine halls with ease and ensuring guests' needs were met without fail. Few knew the toll this responsibility took on him. Over time, Arthur grew increasingly isolated, burdened by the weight of the secrets he carried and the tragedies he witnessed unfold behind closed doors. Rumors began circulating among staff members that the Master Key held a sinister power. Guests staying in certain rooms reported hearing faint whispers emanating from the walls, voices pleading for help or forgiveness. Others claimed to see shadowy figures darting across their peripheral vision, only to vanish when approached. Maintenance workers tasked with inspecting the building often described feeling an overwhelming sense of unease, as though the air itself resisted their presence. Cold spots materialized without warning, sending shivers down spines even on sweltering summer days. The turning point came in 1923, when a prominent socialite named Evelyn Langley checked into the hotel. Known for her extravagant parties and scandalous affairs, Evelyn booked the penthouse suite, demanding absolute privacy. Staff members noticed her erratic behavior, alternating between manic energy and deep despair. Late one evening, Arthur received a frantic call from Evelyn, begging him to retrieve something important from her room. Upon arrival, he found her slumped over a desk, a revolver clutched in her hand. She had taken her own life, leaving behind a note addressed to the keeper of the key. Arthur, shaken but dutiful, locked the room and secured the master key, believing it would put an end to the matter. However, the disturbances only intensified. Guests staying in Evelyn's former suite reported hearing faint sobbing and the sound of heels clicking across the floorboards, despite being alone. Others described seeing a woman in a tattered gown standing silently at the foot of their bed, her sorrowful gaze fixed on the horizon before dissolving into thin air. Even Arthur himself began experiencing vivid nightmares, visions of Evelyn accusing him of failing to save her. Desperate to rid the hotel of its curse, Arthur consulted a local mystic, who revealed that the master key acted as a conduit for residual energy, channeling the emotions and actions of those who had suffered within the hotel's walls. The only way to break the cycle, she warned, was to destroy the key, an act that would seal the hotel's fate forever. Torn between duty and desperation, Arthur ultimately chose to cast the key into the ocean, hoping it would wash away the pain it had caused. Though the disturbances subsided, the hotel never regained its former glory. Rooms once bustling with laughter and music now sat empty, their silence heavy with unspoken sorrow. Today, the Grandview Hotel stands abandoned, its windows shattered and its halls overrun with ivy. Yet those brave enough to venture inside swear they can still hear faint whispers carried on the wind, echoes of a past that refuses to fade. The story of the Master Key serves as a poignant reminder of the unintended consequences of wielding power, whether symbolic or literal. It challenges us to consider how easily objects meant to provide access can become vessels of entrapment, binding both the living and the dead to cycles of tragedy and regret. For in the realm of the supernatural, keys are not merely tools, they are thresholds, bridging worlds we may not fully understand and unlocking truths we may not wish to confront. The haunted tapestry of humanity's quest, weaving life and death as we reflect on the tales woven around the key to death, it becomes evident that these stories transcend mere folklore or urban legend. They tap into something primal within us, a collective fascination with mortality and the unknown. From the mythic origins of keys as symbols of transition to the cursed relics forged by tormented artisans, from the phantom lights of the mortician's key to the sinister whisperings of the hotel's master key, each narrative explores the delicate balance between life and death, access and consequence. Consider the recurring theme of hubris driving individuals to meddle with forces beyond their control. Whether it is Jonathan Wren attempting to resurrect the dead or the archaeologists breaching the tiers of Saint's Crypt, these characters embody humanity's insatiable curiosity and desire to defy natural laws. Yet, time and again, their actions invite catastrophe, underscoring the dangers of tampering with the boundaries of existence. Moreover, these tales highlight the duality of keys as both liberators and imprisoners. While they promise access to hidden truths or forbidden realms, they also carry the risk of unleashing horrors best left undisturbed. This paradox mirrors our own relationship with mortality. We yearn to understand what lies beyond, yet fear the answers we might uncover. The settings themselves, the blacksmith's forge, the Victorian parlor, the ancient crypt, the abandoned hotel, serve as microcosms of society's struggle to reconcile progress with tradition, science with spirituality, rationality with superstition. Each location becomes a stage where the drama of life and death unfolds, reminding us that the past is never truly buried and that its echoes continue to shape our present. Ultimately, the key to death is more than an object or a concept, it is a lens through which we examine our deepest fears and desires. By confronting these stories, we confront ourselves, acknowledging the fragility of life and the inevitability of death. And perhaps, in doing so, we find solace in the knowledge that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, some doors forever closed. And so, dear viewers and fearless explorers, we arrive at the end of our journey through the haunting legacy of the key to death, a journey that has taken us from the blood-soaked forges of cursed blacksmiths to the shadowy depths of forgotten crypts, from the spectral lights of Victorian parlors to the abandoned halls of grand hotels. Along the way, we've uncovered stories of tragedy, resilience, and the unshakable persistence of the past. These tales remind us that keys are more than mere tools. They are symbols of power, transition, and the thin veil separating life from death. But this isn't the end, it's merely the beginning of your own adventure. The spirits of history and legend are waiting, and they have much more to reveal to those brave enough to listen. Whether you're exploring ancient manuscripts, investigating haunted locations, or simply reflecting on the mysteries of mortality, remember that the true magic lies in your willingness to seek answers. Keep your flashlight handy, your mind open, and your courage steady, because you never know what might be watching from the shadows. If you've enjoyed this journey into the supernatural side of the key to death, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. You won't want to miss our next deep dive into the eerie and unexplained. Share this video/article with fellow thrill seekers, leave your thoughts in the comments, and tell us, which story resonated with you the most, or scared you the most? Your engagement fuels our passion for storytelling, and we're grateful to have you as part of this community of curious minds and brave hearts. Until next time, keep chasing the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil. After all, the ghosts of history are always watching, and sometimes, they're closer than you think. Stay spooky, stay curious, and remember, the unknown is calling. Will you answer?